We may now begin with our first technical session of the day, featuring eminent speakers from academia and industry who have made a significant contribution to catalysis and process development. Let us welcome our first speaker, Dr. Shrikant Karwa, a distinguished chemical engineer, industrialist, founder, and student of late Professor R.A. Rajadhyaksha. Dr. Karwa is the founder, chairman, and managing director of the Cata Pharma Group, a company specializing in pharmaceuticals and fine chemicals. I would like to invite Sir to share his journey with Professor Rajadhyaksha and his role in fulfilling his dream of entrepreneurship.
Professor Sharma, friends, students, and ladies and gentlemen. This total program of today has been organized by one of the most emotional speaker today, who spoke only for one sentence, and was Pramod Kumar. He had the greatest emotional association with Professor Rajadhyaksha, and he had been catalyst for creating the endowment as well as the symposium bringing together. But I wished he should have spoke much of his experiences with Rajadhyaksha, because he was the most successful of all of us in the research career and being recognized in industry as one of the best researchers. Anyway, I stand before you today to pay homage to my guru and mentor, the person who all fondly remember and known to his student with great affection as RAR and to his contemporaries as Raja. ICT has produced many great professors, scientists, and entrepreneurs who brought fame, color, and texture to this institution. Among those shining stars, RAR was a comet, bright, brilliant, and unforgettable, and gone before the world could get enough of him. He was a teacher whose radiance illuminated the path of many students like me. I wish to share a few moments from my journey under his guidance as a research student and later as an entrepreneur, to give you a glimpse of what extraordinary teacher and human being he was. Myself being a Marwadi, self-employment was in my blood. After graduating in 1981, I declined offers from IIM Bangalore and Hindustan Lever, joining RCF instead to validate my learnings before starting on my own. Within a year, I realized that to succeed in manufacturing, I need a deeper understanding of chemistry and not just engineering. My first encounter with RAR was arranged by destiny. In 1982, I approached Professor Sharma seeking permission to take Professor Chandalia as my research guide. This was mainly because I knew Professor Chandalia's chemistry-based projects and his work in small-scale industry, which I thought shall give me a way to fulfill my dream of being a manufacturer or in my own self-employment. Professor Sharma told me that Professor Chandalia has already taken Vishwas Kunte and he could not take another UDCT student. That was the rule that time, that one professor will take only one student unless all professors has one UDCT student, another student cannot join. So he then suggested I meet a young lecturer recently returned from UK, Professor Rajadhyaksha, who was just 2-year-old in UDCT. Though RAR became popular for his teaching, in a short period of 2 years, I wondered how his research in zeolites, mainly meant for the petrochemical industries, could help my dream of getting into my own manufacturing. However, with no option at hand, I went to meet him, and that meeting changed my entire life. I told him frankly that I came from a community where education is not looked up to. But wealth creation defines the identity. My family might not understand the relevance of my research, and they may use my research papers to serve bhelpuri to the guest. That is a Marwadi community. I said I wanted to learn something commercially relevant. He listened patiently and then, with a spark in his eyes, said, I can guide you a new topic, catalytic hydrogenation. It is unexplored in India. In the West, it is a central to fine chemical manufacture. But here, we still rely on polluting reduction processes. Understanding in this field could open a Pandora's box of commercial opportunities. And of course, country needs to upgrade to greener technologies, and we at UDCT, being a premier chemical technology institute of the country, has such an obligation to educate industry in that direction. That short unintended meeting gave direction to my life, and that I still follow today. After my master's project, I realized I had only touched the surface of the subject. When I asked what next, he suggested exploring selective hydrogenation of nitroaromatics, especially one-step conversion of nitrobenzene to para-aminophenol, a key intermediate for paracetamol. And this technology was very well guarded by Malincroft in US, and many people worked on it and could not get the yields required to make it a commercial success. He said, if you succeed, you will cut cost by 30%, a guaranteed commercial success. And that is what a Marwadi wanted. Encouraged, I applied for PhD conversion. In the interview, I was advised to take up a lectureship at UDCT. But really, I said honestly, teaching is not my cup of tea. I want to be a profession of wealth creation. The interview suddenly ended abruptly. The obvious outcome for me was rejection. Yet somehow the conversion to PhD program was approved. I believe RAR stood by me because he had observed me and appreciated my conviction to go in my own manufacturing. During research days, I often worked late nights, and my work involved handling hydrogen. RAR took responsibility assuring the people who feared a possible disaster that I could handle it safely. Once during his consultancy at HOC, I happened to be there. In return journey, he simply rode pillion back on my scooter to UDCT. That was his grounding simplicity. As a hostel warden, he was approachable even at midnight. I often went to his residence after dinner with wild business ideas. He would listen patiently, never dismissing even the silliest of the thought. One evening he smiled and said, Karwa, every idea of yours has a potential, but focus on one. By the time one idea matures, you will be 40, and it will give you what you want, enough fame and fortune. Let one project bloom first and the rest can follow. And in addition, he repeatedly impressed upon me that a combination of good chemistry and chemical engineering is in one person are the surest way to fast and successful commercialization of innovative technologies. Those simple advices made me focus on learning chemistry in the surrounding of my all contemporary chemistry students with him, and then on the nitrobenzene to paracetamol project. By the time I finished my research, I was confident to start a catalytic hydrogenation plant. In the process, I learned so many other things, commercial things, design of plant, design of autoclaves, cash flows, project reports, and everything. And in a lot of those things, I took a lot of advice from him, consulted him, discussed with him. The process we developed for paracetamol created ripples in the industry. We had no funds to buy Hestaloy autoclave to handle the dilute sulfuric acid involved in the process. But he came up with the idea of electroplating a mild steel autoclave with a silver at a fraction of the cost. And that allowed us to demonstrate the technology into industrial, convert the technology into industrial reality with the help of venture capital fund from IDBI, which was the first venture capital funding in India. We successfully demonstrated the technology in 1988, and that opened a door to my entrepreneurial dream. Those validations of my ideas gave me not only the strength and courage to dream and execute them, but a moral compulsion of not letting him down for the faith he had in me. In the 4 decades since, Cata Pharma has introduced many import substitutes, many legacy products using greener routes, closely worked with international giants to develop new intermediates for discovery of pharma intermediates, pharma molecules, discovery pharma molecules, which indeed required coupling of chemistry with chemical engineering. Many of them still produced solely by us. Use of molecular efficient catalytic hydrogenation led to the first National Green Chemistry Award to Cata Pharma in 2009. For me, RAR was not a just guide, but a guardian and mentor. Once I asked him, "Sir, with so much technological knowledge, why don't you start an industry?" Always our community focus has been always making wealth. So I was just wondering, the technical knowledge is the basis of creating wealth, and why this person is with such a knowledge sitting here in UDCT. That was different thought processes of our community. He smiled and said, "Karwa, business is not in our blood. I once tried, but I could not sleep at night. Thinking someone might come asking for money, I owe him. We are Kokanastha Brahmins. We are comfortable with our monthly paycheck and rather more comfortable in the profession of imparting knowledge. It took me years to understand everyone, including me, is a product of one's circumstances and ecosystem one lives in." And he was completely at peace with his. There were 2 occasions when he profoundly changed my thinking. First, when on Professor Sharma's and his strong recommendation, IDBI approved VC funding for inactobenzene to paracetamol pilot plant. I felt heavily indebted. He sensed my burden and said, "Don't carry the weight. Neither Professor Sharma or I recommend undeserving candidates. Throw away the weight and move forward." Second, before I left UDCT, I asked him to become a shareholder in my company. While you were doing research, I already had opened an incorporated company and started working on project report to submit to the banks. And that was my way of offering Guru Dakshina by creating wealth to him. He smiled gently and said, "Not needed. I am already paid to teach. There are many gurus around, but only a few true seekers. The credit must go to seeker. God wished you well and made me a medium." I was speechless. In a world where people sought credit for everything, here stood a man who embodied selfless karma, a true karma yogi of Bhagavad Gita. Arya's devotion was one of the best in the profession, as everybody has been expounded on that. Even after his first heart surgery at the age of 36, he returned to his regular work. When we urged him to rest, he said, "If I lie in bed, my health will deteriorate faster. It is better to let the inevitable come while I am working." And it literally happened that way. He accepted life and death with rare clarity, wishing to take his last breath in action, doing what he loved the most. In 1991, he collapsed at the airport while returning from France, where he was invited for a lecture. He was hardly 40, and within a space of 10 years at UDCT, he contributed so much by his research that he was noticed by research community and industry, and then suddenly he vanished like a comet after brightening the lives of so many of us. Aryar lived the philosophy what he taught. His passion for research, excellence in teaching, and fatherly mentorship have immortalized him in our hearts. He was not merely a professor, he was a thought, a force, and standard that still guides us. He will forever remain a part of our collective conscience, challenging us to uphold the integrity, curiosity, humility, and the excellence he exemplified. In conclusion, I can only say, RAR did not just taught us catalysis. He catalyzed our lives. And mine is one of such catalytic reaction that continues to produce energetically, productively, and gratefully under his lasting influence. I now want to make an announcement on behalf of all RAR students. We all students of RAR take this opportunity to let all of you know that few years before, in remembrance of RAR, we had created an endowment in his name. For next 15 years, we wish to undertake a few activities which shall reflect RAR's passion and what he excelled in. Through ICT, we have already instituted annual Best Teacher and as well as annual Best Research Paper in Reaction Engineering Awards of Rs 15,000 and 10,000 respectively. For the last few years, these awards are being given. We wish to increase this amount to Rs 50,000 and Rs 25,000 respectively for the current year and increase it suitably every year for next 15 years. In addition, now onward, we wish to arrange a similar one-day catalyst program on much larger scale, but as we have just started and will be witnessing today the contribution of the experts in the catalytic field, this symposium we wish to conduct every 2 years. The budget for 2027 symposium shall be Rs 15 lakhs, which shall increase by about 2.5 lakhs for each next symposium. Accordingly, 7 such symposiums shall be arranged till year 2039 in his memory. Similarly, a biennial award shall be given to an Indian company who have successfully adopted catalytic process, may be existing outside India, but implemented first time in the country and making our country greener. The award money for the 2007 will be Rs 1 lakh and shall be increased by about Rs 25,000 every 2 years onward. Thank you very much, and I pay again my homage to my guru and mentor, Professor Rajadhyaksha. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Karwa, for sharing your journey with all of us. Now I request Professor J.B. Joshi to present mementos to all the students of late Professor Rajadhyaksha. Thank you so much, sir. Now I request Professor G.D. Yadav to present a memento to Professor Atul Chaskar. I request Professor J.B. Joshi to present a memento to Mr. Nandu Bhagwat. I request Professor J.B. Joshi to present a memento to Dr. R.V. Chaudhary. Please give a round of applause. Thank you so much, sir. We are honored to have Professor G.D. Yadav, Bhatnagar Fellow, National Science Chair and Emeritus Professor and Eminence at ICT Mumbai, one of the India's most distinguished chemical engineers, renowned for his pioneering work in green chemistry, catalysis, and sustainable process engineering. He has received over 150 national and international awards, including the Padma Shri in 2016. A fellow of the US National Academy of Engineering and National Academy of Inventors. As former Vice Chancellor of ICT, he held institutional expansion and established new centers of excellence. He continues to serve on industrial boards and scientific committees, contributing significantly to India's technological advancement. Please give a round of applause in welcoming Professor G.D. Yadav.
What an occasion. I wish Raja was here. I still remember the day I got a call from the Mumbai airport at 5 o'clock in the morning. And that person said, your patient has collapsed. So I was wondering, I said, I'm not a medical doctor. So he said, are you Dr. Yadav? And I said, yes. But I said, I'm not medical doctor, I'm a teacher. So he said, no, your friend Rajiv Anand Rajadhyaksha has collapsed and you should come to the airport immediately. Raja used to stay on the top floor. I went, woke up his mother, and I did not tell her that Raja is no more, and accompanied her. Then they said, don't go to the airport, but go to the hospital. And that is where I met him. His face was still cheerful, and I said, Raja, get up. Because I would be the last person to give hope. But that was destiny. But before that, something else happened. And that is, after his bypass surgery, he came to my office one day with this cardiogram. And you can see the network. And he's told me that these are the two places where there is a blockade. And if I take medicine, this will dissolve. that was, amazing, because he did not look like a heart patient, but he was explaining to me how it happened and all. Sometimes he would meet me, and particularly, as you said, he was a great fan of cricket. So one day he came to me in the afternoon and he said, "Do you know the score?" I said, "No, I don't know. I have not watched the cricket match." So he said, "I don't watch, TV when Gavaskar is playing, because if I watch, Gavaskar gets out." I said, "It's a very nice excuse. You can still work and see the results next day." Because that time it was not as popular as it is today. But he was exceptional. He was an exceptional teacher and all. And when he was in Germany, two of his students, one is Pramod and another is Vijay, they worked with me for their master's program. And I told Pramod to use zirconia, sulfated zirconia, because I was a consultant to PIL, NOSIL now. So he worked on that. After Raja came, he joined again as a PhD student, but destiny was different. And when Raja passed away, 4 of his students were transferred to me. One was Pramod, another was Manoj Kharkar. And I also conducted the open defense of Shetkar, Umesh Shetkar. I still remember that. But destiny is different. If Raja were alive today, he would have been a different type of, ICT would have been a different place. But that is destiny. You can't predict it. In fact, he also told me that he has a different makeup, and he would change ICT if he becomes the director. But it did not happen that way. So, ladies and gentlemen, I had prepared a small talk, as the title says. But I think this is not the occasion to talk about research and innovation. But I will tell you the general philosophy. I chose a very interesting title. I talk about pores, particles, interfaces, networks, and how this could be used advantageously to develop clean and green processes. The whole idea is to create a pore structure, change the surface properties, or incorporate on that pore structure some nanoparticles, which people call these days, and change the surface properties of those nanoparticles, maybe including that of the support, and make use of this in developing green processes. And that is what we have been doing. Earlier it was based on fossil fuels, but now it is all biomass. So what we have been working is, on these networks. So one of the interesting facets which I learned was, how do you make use of networks? In real life also you make use of networks. And in catalysis, unless the networks are open, you can't use them as catalysts, and they should be accessible. And so normally in reaction engineering we talk about pore mouth conditions. So when we were working on this area, I said, why should we access all surface area and have uniform pore size inside? Instead of that, can we not change only the pore mouth conditions so that the entire surface is available? And so we did some work on solid superacids, where the external surface was coated with carbon molecular sieves, and the carbon molecular sieves had control porosity. So only molecules which should go inside it is all open, like network of roads. But only constriction is only at the pore mouth condition. And we were successful in changing the selectivity of the reactions by using that simple idea, where we created just a coating on the surface of the solid catalyst and made carbon molecular sieves, and this we call, UDCAT3. And that is how the UDCAT series of catalysts were developed. And now, these days I talk a lot about carbon dioxide conversion into chemicals, fuels, and materials. And why we are saying that? Because of the environmental problem, the so-called climate change. The carbon dioxide concentration today is 424 ppm. And if we do not control it, and that is almost 41.6 billion tons of carbon dioxide we emit in the atmosphere. And by 2054, we will not have any crude oil. So what are we going to do for our chemicals, fuels, materials? So of course it has to be biomass, either use biomass or purposely grown biomass, trees and whatnot, including waste plastic. But carbon dioxide conversion into methanol, because methanol itself can be a feedstock for a variety of chemicals, or dimethyl ether, or formic acid, or methane, or LPG, or SAF, all those things we have been working in our laboratory, where the idea is to change the catalyst concentration, catalyst site, accessibility, and increase the effectiveness. That is what we have been doing. So we have been successful in doing that. And for that we require hydrogen, the so-called green hydrogen. There are 7 different colors of hydrogen. That is, the color is given to the technology, not hydrogen is colorless. But the technology, for example, green hydrogen means you use renewable energy. It could be solar energy, wind energy, geothermal, or whatever. If you use nuclear energy, it becomes pink hydrogen. And the refineries use 8 different processes where hydrogen is used. These are hydrotreating, for example. They require metal catalysts. But the hydrogen there, instead of the steam methane reforming of natural gas, we can have green hydrogen, we can reduce the pollution, because right now almost 140 million tons of hydrogen is used every year. Of that, 1/3 is used by refineries. So we can reduce that pollution by that. So the green hydrogen is the idea where we water split. So we have developed this technology with the help of ONGC. And so I was yesterday in Delhi. I came home very late. And in the morning I got delayed by the traffic jam. But that is one idea which we are exploring. So methanol, dimethyl ether, the dimethyl ether, we are transferring this technology now. And so that is based on very interesting catalysis. And of course, formic acid. And sustainable aviation fuel. These are all derived from carbon dioxide, which used to be a liability. Now we can make use of it as an asset. So this is all connection with Rajadaksha, because Rajadaksha transferred his students to me when he was in Germany. And I said, I was already working on 2 and 3 dimensional models for oil recovery, and they were all networks. And their continuum of the oil network was one of the most important ideas. So the same ideas we explored in catalysis. Continuum is very important. So in 3 dimensions, you must have 2 dimensions. Only 2 phases can be continuous. In 2 dimensions, only 1 can be continuous. So we had done a lot of these experiments, and incidentally, this resulted into good publications and patents, and so we developed a lot of catalysts. So I talk in honor of my great friend Rajiv Anand Rajadaksha, who is no more, but I am very happy that Rupa is here. Sachin, I see him after so many years, looks a different person now. He was a young lad. My sons used to be his friends. And countless students. I was very happy to see all his past students coming here. And Shrikant Karwa, I had visited his factory recently in Nashik, and he mentioned that he's going to have this function today, and I said, of course, I'll come. I was supposed to be there in Delhi today also, but I cut short my visit and I came. Thank you very much for asking me to talk. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I would like to request Dr. Manoj Kharkar to present a memento to Professor G.D. Yadav. It is my pleasure to introduce our next speaker, Dr. R.V. Jasra, Senior Vice President and Head R&D at Reliance Industries, and a leading expert in catalysis, nanomaterials, and petrochemical processes. Sir has developed 67 chemical processes, of which 28 are commercialized, published 343 research articles, and holds 326 granted patents, with his work recognized by major awards, including multiple Lifetime Achievement Award and top inventor rankings. He is also noted for significant mentorship, impactful industrial innovations, and roles with international scientific advisory bodies, making him a prominent figure in chemical sciences. Sir, please, everyone, please join us in welcoming Dr. R.V. Jasra.
I think good afternoon. It's my proud privilege to be here today and speak as a tribute to Professor Rajadhyaksha. I had very thin interaction with him. When I was in IPCL, I was working in adsorption, diffusion in zeolites. That is the time when we had some brief interaction. I wanted to understand diffusions in pores. That's how we read his paper and we got connected. As we have seen, he has worked on zeolites, he has worked on catalysis, he has also worked on adsorption. That's where I thought I will speak on zeolites and what is happening in zeolites in the area of adsorption application as well as catalyst application of zeolites. Okay, from here. So I'll spend some time on zeolites as catalyst, industrial catalyst. I belong to industry, so I'll speak only the catalysts which are commercialized catalysts. And I'll also tell something which we are doing in the area of zeolites, both for adsorption and catalysis. Then some emerging application in pharma. If time is there, I will go there. But my focus will be today what is happening in the area of zeolites as catalysts and adsorbents. This is Professor Barer, who is, in fact, synthetic zeolites came on the scene because of this gentleman, Imperial College London. And I was lucky that I've spent 1 year in Imperial College London in the same lab where those zeolites were synthesized. I've seen the reactors, small reactors they were using to do experiments for making synthetic zeolites. Zeolites, why I'm calling them magical material? If you really see, if anybody who has got background in materials, inorganic material, if you look into that, they're very fascinating. Fascinating because they are inorganic material which are made from silica tetrahedral and alumina tetrahedral. Oxygen is the bond between them. The whole framework structure of this silica alumina framework is very porous, 50% porosity. Volume is the porous volume in this thing. But despite this such a high porosity, the stability of the material, that structure, thermal stability as well as hydrothermal stability is very high. 600, 500, nothing happens to zeolite structures. So that's why they become very interesting material to do catalysis, adsorption. Catalysis particularly because most of the processes are at high temperature. And you need a lot of pores. That is one. Second, this framework is negatively charged. So to compensate the charge, there are cations. And these cations are very labile. You can change sodium, potassium, calcium very easily, like cation exchangers there. And you can also put some cations which are catalytically active into that. That's where this interest in catalysis comes. And there's a lot of volume, pore volume available. That's why the sorption space in zeolite is fairly high. That's how this interest of the people in catalysis and adsorption for zeolites came. Now, there are many porous materials. Zeolites are not the only. Carbon is highly porous material. We know clays are porous material. But what differentiates zeolites from other materials, the pores are of molecular size dimension, less than 10 angstrom. Most of the zeolites pores, opening to the pore is less than 10 angstrom. This really take them, like if I want to play with molecules, most of the molecules are within 10 angstrom. If I want to play with molecules using this material, you have got pores which are closer to molecular dimension. So you can really separate one molecule which is a bigger size molecule from the smaller size molecule using these zeolites, selecting the zeolites. Second is this pores are uniform. In alumina, silica or carbon, you have got wide variation in pore size dimensions. But here the pores are uniform. If I make 1 gram of zeolite in the lab or if I make 1 ton zeolite in the industry, if I say 4 angstrom opening, 1 ton also, all the pores will be 4 angstrom. That is really wonderful because when you make a material, then very uniform. So if I want to play with selectivity using this pore size dimension, uniform pores are available for doing the selectivity. Surface area is very high. I said they have acidity also. And this acidity in zeolites can be controlled by changing silica alumina ratio or by keeping some alumina in the non-framework space also. So this is a big tool to catalysis people who want to do acid catalysis reaction that zeolites give us really tunable surface acidity. And since these pores, inside the pore dimensions are 10 angstrom diameter or 13 angstrom diameter, any molecules goes into the pores, it experiences overlapping potential from the pore walls. Because they are molecules also of similar dimension. So that's where the activation of the molecules within the pores is very high. As I said, hydrothermal stability, thermal stability is there. Now, on the surface of the zeolite, you can impregnate any catalytic material. I can put nickel, I can put platinum, palladium. So this is an additional feature. I can create porous zeolite on which catalytic active sites are put. So catalytic activity is done by the active sites. But because of the shape and size of the pores of zeolite, I can get the shape selectivity in the product. And they are chemically inert, biocompatibly non-corrosive. Very easy to handle, no issue with even like pharma application is happening because zeolites are biocompatible material. And that's why these materials have really emerged on the scene many years back. Like post 60, we started seeing synthetic zeolites on the scene. Their applications have really grown. Many zeolites have now been synthesized, many different structures. But commercially, we have only exploited this number of the zeolites. Very handful number of zeolite structures are really commercially exploited today. Though around these 229 synthetic structures are known, 40 natural synthetic structures are known, and there are infinite possibility of developing new zeolite structure depending upon alumina, silica compositions. Or even you can put some other metals in place of alumina or silica in the framework. There is a huge potential still waiting to be really explored in the area of zeolite. Unfortunately, MOFs have come and they have really dwarfed the zeolite, but zeolite still remain today the most widely used porous after carbon materials as catalysts and adsorbents. Yeah. if people who know about refining, if we see refining industry before 70s and post 70, catalysis have entered in a big way in refinery. Before that, it was only separations. But once catalysis came, and now see how many places these zeolites are used. All these green dots in any refinery configuration shown here, we use zeolites. And FCC, the one where largest amount of zeolites in industry as a catalyst are used, FCC catalyst. There are many other isomerization, alkylation, desulfuration, dewaxing, and as we go future hydrocracking, particularly crude to chemicals, hydrocracking, zeolites also will play a big role. And wide variety of zeolites. You can see ZSM22, MCM22, modernite. These are different types of zeolites having different acidity and different pore structures have been really used for wide variety of chemistry. You look into the chemistry it is doing in refinery today. Today's refinery cannot survive without this type of catalysis and also even separation by using the zeolites. FCC, the one where the largest amount of zeolite is used. See, zeolite Y is the one, US by ultra stable Y is the one where we de-illumination of the zeolite structure is done. So we got silica-rich zeolite, which is hydrothermally more stable. That does the cracking. It is only few seconds hydrocarbon comes in contact with the catalyst and cracking happens. But as the demand of propylene has gone up in the world, FCC also has become an engine for propylene production. There also only zeolites have helped. So ZSM-based additive is put into the FCC catalyst, which gives more propylene. It doesn't give only gasoline and diesel, it also gives a lot of propylene. And today in the world, you can see here, the FCC catalyst market is valued at $2,560 million today. It is growing. Even in like Reliance, we have got 2 FCC units, 20 ton per day. The spent catalyst is generated, FCC catalyst, in one refinery. So 2 refinery, 40 ton spent catalyst is generated. So much FCC catalyst we use in our operation. These are other commercial zeolite catalysts for petrochemicals. I have just shown the list. See, one type of material making huge impact in refining as well as petrochemical. Look, these are all commercial processes you can see where we methanol to olefin oligomerization, aromatization of light paraffin to olefins and C2C8 range. You can see the caprolactam. Professor Sharma was talking about the sustainability. How the process can be sustainable by the intervention of the catalyst. And particularly in this case, the zeolite-based catalyst. This is the process commercially earlier used, like for making this caprolactam. With Sumitomo has come with the process which is much cleaner. You can see it only uses hydrogen peroxide, ammonia, then this is titanium silicalite, then it gives this oxime which is converted to caprolactam. The conversion of or increasing the green quotient of a process, catalyst plays a big role, and we have wide variety of zeolite-based catalysts. This also helps. These are the new zeolite-based technologies which have really emerged. Like, I will give only one example here. Solid acid alkylation, zeolite-based. We use this octane booster in all our petrol, where the C8 alkylates are used. They are produced today worldwide by using hydrofluoric acid or sulfuric acid, where C4 olefin are alkylated with C4 alkane, which is very dangerous. Using such a large amount of hydrofluoric acid in one place or sulfuric acid is very risky. It's a hazardous material. Handling is very difficult. But technology has come where zeolite-based solid acid catalyst. So zeolites are solid acid catalyst, safe acid catalyst. Now, alkaline process and Eurofuel process, these are the 2 or 3 processes which are now commercially available in China. Alkaline process is already being practiced. So it has really slowly saying goodbye to HF and sulfuric acid. Similar thing like in LAB production. LAB production also was HF, is a catalyst which is used for alkylation of benzene to produce linear alkyl benzene. Now GOP has come up with a solid acid catalyst. They have also again developed a zeolite based catalyst where the alkylation can be done. So this is how zeolite catalysis or zeolite based catalysts are making the processes sustainable and renewable. So I have given this in green because this is the process which we have developed and commercialized in Reliance. And last 10-12 years we have been working on this process. See, this is Reliance olefin removal catalyst. We were using, I will spend more time on this. These are, in a few next slides, these are the emerging zeolite based technologies. Emerging means the future. Future, you see, why I am showing so many, one type of material making such a huge impact in the industry as catalyst only. Here I have made this green because we have developed toluene methylation catalyst, which was licensed to GTC. First time, very rare, a GTC, Indian industry licensing a catalytic technology to a US company. That's what then IPCL, which is now Reliance, this process was developed and really licensed to GTC. Now GTC is putting the plant based on that technology. Sorry. Professor Sharma also mentioned that cracking, steam crackers are non-catalytic. But already now SK Corporation has developed catalytic cracking for naphtha for producing ethylene and propylene, and which is now being licensed by KBR. KBR is licensing, and I was told one plant in China is coming. So this, we are seeing the shift of steam cracker also in the future to catalytic cracking will happen with this type of development happening on the scene. Now I want to talk more about our process, which is the Rail-Orcat process. See, we are in the business of polyester. You all know we are the big player for polyester Reliance, and for producing polyester, paraxylene is the most important molecule. And this is produced by an aromatic plant. In our aromatic plant, we have got a plate forming. From plate forming, we produce C7, C8 molecules. C8 molecules or isomers, we separate the paraxylene. While producing this paraxylene, we do all sorts of catalysis here. We do transalkylation, we do isomerization, all use zeolite. But one process which we are using was here a clay treater. Before this mixture goes for separation to zeolite based adsorbent, you have to remove olefin from the feed. Otherwise, this will create problem in the molecular sieve. We use the clay treater here, and this clay treater's life is these are acid catalysts, acid treated clay based catalysts, which does olefin alkylation with aromatics, and they get removed post distillation. Now, this clay life is very low, 4 months to 5 months, maximum 6 months. So every 4 months you have to change this clay catalyst from the reactor. This is a big nuisance. For example, in our Jamnagar one plant, we are using 3000 meter cube of the clay. And every 4 months if we have to change, this is a big problem. So when I joined Reliance in 2008, so I was told 2009 or 10, this is a big nuisance for us. Can we do something? Can we develop a catalyst which can last longer or which can be regenerable? That was the first thing given, and then we said, okay, we'll have a shot at it. And then we started studying why clay is used. So this is a liquid phase process, very low temperature, 170. And when we work in industry, we are not free. There are a lot of boundary conditions given to us. So we have to develop a drop-in catalyst. Reactor will be same, temperature, pressure will be same, and size also reactor same. You develop the process where your catalyst can be just put. We replace the clay and put your catalyst. That was the boundary condition given to us. We have worked on this for at least 3 years, and we came up with our catalyst. I'll show you. We came up with our catalyst, which was not first time that zeolite was made, at least in India. In the lab also, or even in the, then later on commercial scale also. That zeolite was not developed by anybody. For us, it was also new. We developed the whole new zeolite, whole know-how on our own. Then converting that zeolite to a catalyst. This being a liquid phase process, diffusion and 170 degree, then diffusion also is important. So the zeolite pellets, which has got 80% zeolite component, 20% will be binder. So you have to make a pellet such a way that diffusion is not creating problem. So the both way, and the zeolite synthesis we innovated, and also making a catalyst from the zeolite powder also we innovated, and we came up with the catalyst which was, like you can see, this is the zeolite structure. This is the clay we are using. We have used a zeolite which is also have got layered structure, not a three-dimensional rigid structure, because clay were two-dimensional porous material. We developed a zeolite which is similar to that, and that took a lot of time. So this, again, doing the alkylation reaction. It took us 3 years to develop this catalyst in the lab, but it took us 7 more years to put it in the commercial reactor. After having developed, then we just made 10 kg of this material, and we were asked, we will only put in the reactor if you prove in a side stream reactor in the closer to our clay catalyst bed. So we had put a small reactor along with our catalytic reactor, using our catalyst, sol conditions same, feed same, and it was monitored. 5 years our catalyst was running. When every few months we are changing the clay, this was in Patalganga, very small reactor is there, 8.5 ton catalyst only we use. The clay was being used every 4 months. Our catalyst survived 5 years without change of anything. No SOR, same conditions it was working, and it was working. That is the time then management got convinced we can take a chance, we can put this catalyst into the main clay bed. We can replace the clay with this our catalyst. So 8.5 ton catalyst was made in India with Sudchemy based on our know-how. Then this reactor was filled with our catalyst in Patalganga. Now it is almost 52 months. Our catalyst is working 52 months compared to 4 months. It is still at SOR conditions. Our estimation, it will last at least 10 years without regeneration. Now that was very tough to reach at Patalganga. Commercial reactor was very tough for us. But now in December, we are putting same catalyst in our Jamnagar clay bed. 200 ton of this catalyst in one reactor we are putting. And that catalyst is made again in India with Sudchemy. 200 ton will be put in Jamnagar reactor. And we had nothing, no effort was put by us from R&D. Management itself decided, since this is so successful in Patalganga, we should immediately put in Jamnagar also. So this is the story of our, at least zeolite-based one catalyst here. But we also have done in the past combined IPCL Reliance, the zeolite-based catalyst, our xylophaning process with NCL, Professor Palatna Swami, who developed this catalyst, then Reliance, IPCL catered, and ACC, IPCL and ACC combined in the xylophaning process. This was a historic development in the Indian catalysis science, which was the first major catalytic technology commercialized in India. Then we are later on, when Reliance took over, para-diethyl benzene technology. Again, see, this catalyst is one of the finest, super selective catalysts. Here the pores of the zeolite pores like ZSM5. ZSM5 is the catalyst. This is the pore mouth to this is the porous structure of ZSM. If we have controlled the pore mouth of the zeolite by fraction of an angstrom, so that only the symmetrical molecule like paraxylene or para-diethyl benzene can diffuse in and diffuse out of these pores. Others can't. This will give us super selectivity. This was done. You can see this is really nanoengineering. How to control this? This whole pore diameter is 5.5 or 5.1 angstrom, the elliptical pores. You have to just a fraction of angstrom, you have to control this pore by depositing some molecules or some compound on the pore mouth very carefully. It is 8-step process which we use to develop this catalyst, and again this para-DB catalyst. Now this whole plant is running in Hazira, and we are, I think, second company in the world which is making para-diethyl benzene from ethyl benzene. Toluene methylation already I have talked, and L-orchid I have talked. We also work on a lot of adsorbents, which I will come in the when I come to adsorption part. This is what I was telling. Zeolite powder synthesis, then making the pellet, then testing, pellet scale, pellet plant testing, then manufacturing. You know, the shape of this pellet particularly was a big challenge for us, because we were always worried if suppose we put very large catalyst, 8 ton, 200 ton, then diffusion problem, other thing, pellets are big pellets. That's where this shape is specifically designed by us and patented by us so that it should work. So there's a lot of innovation even for converting this zeolite powder to pellet also. A lot of effort goes into this also. All this work which I'm presenting on this catalyst is patented by us. And also, I think in 2021, we were also given the best catalyst technology award by hydrocarbon processing in the world that year by hydrocarbon Gulf Energy Awards we got for this particular development by us. Now, Relorcat, of course, as I have already told, the uniqueness is life is one. Life is one, but this is also very important. I can create acidity and do alkylation, but I don't want to lose xylene when I'm doing because I am passing xylenes, paraxylene, orthoxylene, metaxylene, ethyl benzene through this. I should not lose xylene. Xylene loss is there, xylene is a real money. And if I lose xylene, it will produce benzene. Then again, downstream processing becomes problem. So this was very, very important for us. When I design the acidity of my catalyst, it should not lead to cracking or xylene losses, other thing at that temperature. And also no styrene breakthrough. In the clay, the problem is some styrene is formed, because there is ethyl benzene in the feed. Styrene was found, but in our catalyst, no styrene is found. And many times we had to stop the clay because of the styrene in the outlet whenever we observed. So these were really unique features, and this type of technology, now worldwide around 25,000 to 30,000 clay is used for this application. And we believe once our Jamnagar plant comes, clay should be history for this application at least. Everybody will have to follow this catalyst technology only. Now I come to adsorption also. How the field of adsorption separation, drying or even purification is impacted by zeolites. If we look into the history of adsorption technologies, before 60, it is only known for decolorization, purification, or drying. It will use clay, alumina, silica, or carbon. But with the advent of the zeolite, synthetic zeolite particularly, or carbon molecular sieve also, where the pores are uniform and less than 10 angstrom, the adsorption became a big separation process. Because you can really separate the molecules with this type of molecule. That's why zeolites also are known as molecular sieves. They can sieve the molecules. Second big process, the impact parameter which impacted the adsorption separation is this new process cycle. So you can see this is all from material science, chemistry. This is all engineering. The selectivity in some of these zeolites is very small. But because of this process cycle, like pressure swing, adsorption swing, it has been still become very economical. These two process cycle which came on the pressure swing, vacuum swing, and even simulated moving bed. 60s they happened. This has transformed. The combination of these two innovations really transformed adsorption into a major separation process. That's why you can see post 60 normal paraffin separation from kerosene. Before adsorption came, it was done by urea duct formation. No longer anywhere in the world. Everybody separates normal paraffin from kerosene by using adsorption process. Because these normal paraffins are required for producing LAB, at least C10 to C14 carbon number range, which are further dehydrogenated selectively to produce more olefins, which are used for alkylation of benzene. This here you are separating class of compound. Like you all, okay, all normal alkanes only we are separating. Then paraxylene from C8 isomer. Here you are separating isomers. Paraxylene from metaxylene, orthoxylene, ethyl benzene separating. Separation of individual isomer. Later on also in gas, oxygen, nitrogen separation from air, hydrogen recovery from hydrocarbon. This is a molecular gas. See, oxygen and nitrogen are very close. Size is close. Only small difference in quadruple moment of nitrogen is 0.31, where oxygen is 0. Just exploiting that small interaction, we have a process available today. Then it entered to glucose fructose separation. Then even enantiomeric separation is being now worked for using adsorption. This all happened because of the emergence of the zeolite type of material. Hydrogen today, there are around, UOP alone has more than 1000 polybed PS. Here also, zeolite is one of the adsorbent for carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide separation. Oxygen, nitrogen, up to 20 ton per day if you want to separate oxygen from air. This is more economic. Beyond that, cryogenic is a more economical process. So 20% now oxygen, nitrogen separation from air is being done by adsorption process using carbon molecular sieve or zeolite molecular sieves. This I already have talked. I think I have to rush because, see why these two I have put again green. See, paraxylene for C8 armine. Like we have our own adsorbent in Reliance. We have not commercialized it. Both for these two processes, we have developed our own adsorbent, which are zeolite-based adsorbent. But because of the risks involved in commercializing this, such a huge, our plants are very huge, so risk is very, very high. That's why we are not really going for commercial. We have got, even for oxygen, nitrogen separation, we have our own adsorbent, which is zeolite-based adsorbent. This is one which we have already commercialized. See, this is drying. Here we use zeolite molecular sieve 3A. After cracking, you get, this is the mixture you get. So many hydrocarbon. This has around 600 to 700 ppm moisture, which needs to be removed because it goes for cryogenic separation later. Now, this molecular sieve 3A is the only one which is used. It was all along made by UOP or Grace or some other company, Union Carbide that time. We have developed our own molecular sieve, zeolite-based molecular sieve, and 5 now our dryers in Reliance are being run based on our adsorbent, developed by us and produced in India with the partnership with some vendor. Now, this adsorbent is totally different from what the UOP sells or others sells, because we are here done the pore engineering. Pore engineering based zeolite A based material is there, where by pore engineering we have converted into 3A, so that only moisture will get absorbed. None of this molecule will go into the pores of the zeolite. So already being used in Nagothane, Dahej and Jamnagar, and also in one plant in Baroda, we are using our own zeolite based adsorbent for this drying purpose. I think I have to stop. Manoj said, this is the next big thing for zeolite separation. CBG plants coming all over India. We all know Reliance also is going to put many plants in India. Once you do this microbial biomass treatment, you always end up with carbon dioxide methane mixture. So you have to get rid of carbon dioxide. This pressure swing already 30% market PSA hydrogen separation, oxygen nitrogen separation. This is the major separation, which will be zeolite based PSA separation. And of course, we also have interest in this particular separation in the lines. So I think I will stop here. I will not get into the emerging field where zeolites are being used in pharma sector also, on a commercial scale also. Some of the zeolites, natural zeolites are already commercially available as pharmaceutical compounds. And they are also, for drug delivery also, they are being researched heavily. In future application of zeolites, even in pharma sector, will happen. So what I have tried to show you within very, whatever time I got, zeolites as a material, very fascinating material, having still a lot of potential, already established itself as a catalyst material, as well as adsorbent material, and also likely to be major material for pharma also future. So with this, I would really like to thank organizer for having invited me, and I got opportunity to pay my tribute to Professor Rajya Diksha, and whatever I heard right from the morning about him, it's really very, very, even after so many years, if you are remembered with such emotions and feelings, sentiments, I think it speaks about the personality of the person. I really pay tribute to him. Madam, you have been the force behind him. I think I really feel privileged that I got an opportunity to speak on this occasion. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I would like to request Dr. Pramod Kumbar to present a memento to Dr. R.V. Jasra. Thank you. This concludes the morning session. We'll now break for lunch. Please reassemble in the auditorium by 2 p.m. sharp. Thank you.